in the background. So again, my name's Abby Jones. I'm the main math club sponsor for Quail Valley. This is my 4th year as the sponsor. I've got a co-sponsor named Anissa Kandwala. She's a 6th grade math teacher. And then I can't even tell you how lucky to have Ishel Nall. She is our coach for our most advanced group of math counts students. And she's just fantastic. She's coached the National Math Counts team for several years, and she comes and works with our students at Quail Valley. So I'm so thankful for her, and I think we're really lucky to have her. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. I'm going to turn the screen around and show you just kind of a PowerPoint. So I've introduced you guys. This site right here is your go-to resource. Basically everything you need to know is on this site right here. So if you're wanting to be involved in math club, or you're ever wondering what's going on, I would just suggest bookmarking the site and just checking it often. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that site, and I'm going to kind of talk you. Whoops, that's my editing site. Well, here we go. So this is the math club site. Obviously, you got the link for this this live stream on it, but I just want to point out some stuff that you're going to find on the site. So if you notice up at the top on this bar, you're going to find a calendar of upcoming competitions. There's FAQ. I've just written answers to a lot of questions that I get. And then if you notice all of these are the common competitions that we compete in. And it tells you kind of how they look, how things are scored, some range of scores to kind of get you to what your goal is. So lots of really good resources there. I want you to look here on the side. There is a math club intro video. I think this meeting is probably going to cover pretty much what you need, but you can always refer to that. If for some reason you're not getting math club emails, here's a subscribe button. If you change email addresses, you don't have to even contact me. You can go and not only just subscribe an email, but you can update your preferences. If for some reason you're not getting emails, the first thing you need to do though is check your spam folder. A lot of times your email accounts are going to filter out my messages as spam just because I send them to so many people. So first check your spam before just assuming that you're not getting them at all. And then if you really aren't getting any of the emails, then you can go and subscribe to the email list here. If you are interested in being a parent volunteer for us, there's a link here. I'm not going to talk a bunch about that right now because I know that's probably more catered towards our competition or competitive club parents. So I'll talk more in detail about that later. I want you to notice here there is an order link to buy our QVMS math shirt. Notice the deadline to order is August 31st. I'd like for us to make sure everybody has their shirt by the time we do our first competition. So definitely go and visit that link and get your shirts. If you ever throughout the year have any great photos that you'd like to share with us, you can upload photos here. So let's talk quickly about the way that Math Club is structured this year. Even if you've been in Math Club before, it's going to be a little bit different than this year than it has been in the past. What I've noticed is that there are quite a few students who are in our math clubs who seem like maybe it's not the best fit for them. And as I think about what the competitive math clubs, how they're structured, it's really not for everybody. So this is, if you notice, I'm on the Raider Math website, so you can go and read these posts in detail. But basically, if you just really like math and you like hands-on activities that are like investigative, kind of experimental type activities, but you're not so much into sitting and listening to a lecture or sitting and taking a test, then you're probably a good candidate for our Just for Fun Math Club. So Ms. Khandwala and I are gonna alternate teaching that Just for Fun Math Club, and it's gonna be hands-on fun activities. So there aren't a whole lot of requirements for you to qualify for the Just for Fun Math Club. All you really need to do is pay the math club dues. I'll talk to you quickly about where you can pay those. I've pulled up the RevTrack site. So the same place that you go to make meal payments, this is the Quail Valley RevTrack site. If you want to pay for Math Club, you can go here, and then it's got the option to pay for the Math Club dues. So if you're wanting to be a part of the For Fun Math Club, just go visit that page and pay for it. And then that's all that's required. Watch out for an email, because we do need to get an idea about numbers. So we'll have you you just kind of fill out a sign-up form saying, hey, I want to do the For Fun Math Club, just so we can kind of estimate numbers. And we haven't decided for sure how many or excuse me, when the first club meeting is. So you really need to just watch out for emails from me, or come back and keep visiting this website, because all the information will be there as soon as we know it. Now, if you are, on the other hand, a student, so at this point, let me pause for a second. At this point, if I've answered all of your questions as far as the For Fun Math Club, again, you just need to pay the dues, and then at some point we're going to send out a sign-up form so that we know numbers. And I guess one more thing that I will add to that is we're going to ask you to join a Remind group, just because sometimes we have to cancel club, and we want to make sure that you guys are all able to have that information. So if I've answered your questions about the Just for Fun Math Club, then you're welcome to disconnect at this point. If you're interested in the competitive club, let's start talking about that. You should have already received an email from me regarding the competitive math club application. It's going to, if you notice right here, it's showing you what the requirements are. So there are actually 10 tests that I've shared with you, and you need to choose 7 of the 10. We're gonna divide the competitive math clubs into a beginner group and an advanced group. And depending on interest level, we're thinking maybe a beginner TMSCA group and an advanced TMSCA, and then a beginner math count / AMC group, and an advanced math count / AMC group. That advanced math counts group has traditionally been called our Varsity 1 group, and that's the group that's going to be taught by Ms. Knoll. So if you're interested in being a part of any of the advanced classes, then you need to take the advanced tests. So if you only take beginner tests, or you take mostly beginner and only a couple of advanced, then you haven't fulfilled the requirement for being in an advanced level club group. So make sure, if you're going to try for those advanced groups, that you take the advanced level tests, just so I know that you have experience with the harder kinds of tests and you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, with that being said, we don't know exactly how many students we're going to have interested in which groups. So please just trust us that we're going to do our very best to put you in the correct group. It may not be the group that you want, but we'll do our best to kind of meet your needs. If you notice here, there's a student and parent agreement that you need to sign. You've got to take the placement test that's happening next Thursday, August 23rd, and then obviously pay those math club dues. Okay, so a couple things there. There is, if for some reason you have not received the placement or the competitive club application packet. Here's a link. You can go in and put your email address, and within the next couple days I will email that packet again to the people who sign up on this form. And whoops, didn't mean to do that. There's the form. And if you want to take the math club placement test, we need to know how many copies to make. So let me be really clear here. If you want to be in a competitive club, you have to take the placement test. And if you want to take the placement test, you need to click that link and sign up for it so we make enough copies. So that placement test again, August 23rd, it's going to be from after school until I put on the schedule around 6:30, but we should honestly finish a little bit earlier than 6:30. So, okay, let me see if there's anything else on here I haven't told you. Okay, one thing that's really important about the competitive math club is that you kind of have to earn your spot. That doesn't mean that you have to be the best competitor in the class. It means that you need to have really good work ethic and really good behavior. So if we have students who are disruptive in the club groups, or for example, I'll go ahead and turn this around so you guys can see me as I'm talking. So if students are disruptive in the club group, if they're on their phones, if they're not engaged in what's being taught, then those students are going to have the potential of being moved down into a lower level group. And eventually it would be, what's going to happen is they're going to get moved down into the Just for Fun group. That's going to be an every other week club. So in order to maintain or to be able to stay in the competitive math clubs, we expect excellent behavior. We expect that the students are taking notes, that they're asking questions, that if the club instructor assigns some sort of homework, which honestly isn't common but could happen, that they're doing the homework. So the reality is that our math club teachers are volunteers for the most part. So we don't want them spending their time having to do classroom management. So we want them to just be able to share their expertise in math. So that's going to be a big thing for us this year, is that you have to earn that spot. Now, I'm talking right now about mostly moving down in club groups, but students will also have the ability to move up. So we have had kiddos in the past where a math club teacher will say, this kid is amazing and I feel like he's bored or she's bored. And if we have a situation like that and the student is interested in moving up, and we see the potential that they could handle moving up into a more advanced group, then we will consider moving students up. So it's all based on engagement. It's all based on, but to some degree, behavior and how positive the environment is being maintained based on your involvement in the club group. So that's part of the agreement that we're going to ask you to sign. Okay, so let me go back to my PowerPoint and we'll see. I think I forgot something for the For Fun Club, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys are still watching. Okay, okay, one other thing that we want to really make sure isn't happening is late pickups. So if you've been a part of Math Club in the past, you know that we used to have 4 Math Club sponsors. I had 2 other helpers, I had 3 other helpers, and this year I only have Miss Kandwala. So we are going to be so crazy busy this year, and so we really, really need you to respect the fact that we have families at home and make sure that you are picked up from club on time. So the best solution we've found for trying to incentivize, I don't know, if maybe the opposite of incentivize getting picked up late is by asking you to skip club if you're more than 15 minutes late being picked up. So please make sure that students, make sure your parents know you're staying for club. That's happened where the parent doesn't even know. Make sure your parents know when the club ends. And then parents, please make sure if you've got some sort of schedule conflict that you either have your kiddo skip club that week or maybe find somebody else who can pick your kiddo up. So the clubs, again, we're still finalizing the schedule, but probably the clubs are going to be, we know for sure that the varsity one, the advanced math counts club, is going to be on Wednesdays. And it's probably going to be from 4:30 to sometimes like 5:45-ish. But the other clubs I expect to be on Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30. Again, this isn't for sure, so just kind of stay tuned for emails as well as checking the Raider Math website for updates as far as scheduling. So basically we ask that parents are there to get their kiddos no later than 5:45. As far as the start date and the end dates of the clubs, we're going to try to start, we may do a kind of a club orientation the last week of August. Our hope is to begin clubs the first week of September. Again, something may happen and we may need to reschedule that, so we'll be in touch, so check that website. The club is going to run during the year until after the state TMSEA meet. Last year, state TMSEA was April 21st, so it was like the week before April 21st was the last day that we held club. So there's that. Okay, I'm gonna check my list. Let me go back to the website and talk a little bit more about volunteering. We're still, I'm foreseeing us needing 4 math club teachers, and right now we have 3. So I'm just going to put that plug out there that we would love for one of you parents out there who loves math and wants to teach kiddos some math that you know, that you would come and help us lead one of our math club groups. So that's definitely one thing that we really need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up this volunteer form. If you're interested in volunteering in any way, please fill this out. Ms. Kondwala is going to be in charge of volunteers, so she'll probably be in touch with you. So these are the areas that we could use help. Is obviously we do need one more teacher. After competitions happen, we really need help taking all of the test papers and organizing those. And then in the past, it's been really nice to have parents set up a table during the lunch periods and distribute tests and things like that to the students. At the very least, it'd be really helpful to have someone help us organize the tests. And you know, worst case scenario, the kids have to come and retrieve their own tests from that organized bin that we have. So that would be something that you could really help us with. The next item is we're going to do at least 1 competition, probably 2 competitions this year, and all of the money that we make from those competitions goes toward partly to compensate Miss Knoll, and then basically everything else goes towards covering the cost of our state TMSEA competition or the state math counts competition. So we just basically give it back to the students. So the more snacks and food items that we get donated, the more profit. So if you're willing to help us with getting food and supplies for the competitions, for the concession stand, that would be awesome. Now, because there are only 2 of us this year, the reality is we are not going to be able to attend all of the competitions. So there are going to be some competitions where I'll say, hey guys, we're not going to have a teacher chaperone at this competition. That means that parents, you're going to have to stick around with your kids. So you're gonna have to be in charge of making sure that they're, you know, doing what they need to do and getting where they need to be. But I know some of you parents are more experienced with competitions than I am by far. And I would love to have some of you just be volunteers to be kind of a point of contact person, where if Miss Kandwala or I are not at a competition, that parents can come to you and get questions answered, and you know, get any assistance that they need. So if you're willing to do that, we would really appreciate it. The last one is if you'll be willing to just actually physically volunteer during our competitions, helping us with proctoring the tests and running the concession stands and things like that. One thing that has been so amazing in the past is we've had a couple of parents who work for, I'll just leave it right there. They work for some oil companies. We've had this happen with both ConocoPhillips and ExxonMobil. And what the parents do is, if they volunteer for us, what they found that their companies will match their donation of time with a financial donation. So, and it's really awesome. So if you're willing to volunteer for us, it may be something where you could ask your company if they would be willing to match, donation match your time given. And again, all of that money goes basically, you know, back to the state TMSCA and the state math counts competition. We try to cover as much of the expense as we possibly can. Okay, so the screen that you see right now is how can you attend competitions. If you attended competitions last year, this is all the same. So the only thing I would tell you is make sure that with TMSCA competitions, you are filling out both the Google form and paying online. The Google form is essential for me to know which tests you want to take. So I do need you to fill out 2 things for TMSCA competitions. After that, if you feel comfortable and you don't have any questions, you can tune out for a while. If you have questions, tune out for a while. I'm going to give you guys a link for questions in just a bit. So you can come back or stick around with us. So for TMSCA, again, watch for an invite email, visit the Radar Math website. There's going to be a Google form that you're going to have to fill out. Let me show it to you. This is an example of one of the forms that we send. Please make sure that you spell your names right and just put your email address in correctly. And you're just going to indicate which of the tests, the TMSCA tests you would like to take. I would love to post more pictures on the website, but I want to make sure that you guys are okay with it. So if you could give me a photo release, and then what you're going to find at the very end of the form is a link. This is actually my editing site. Hang on one second. So at the very bottom of the form, you're going to find the link for payment. So when you click on that, this is going to be expired, but when you click on that, it's going to go to the RevTrack site, and then it'll be obviously available. This is an old Google form, so it'll allow you to go and automatically pay online for the competition. We do only accept online payments at this point. It's just way easier for all of us. So definitely pay online. If you do register early, what I do is I'm going to send out like a registration, like just saying, hey, we got your registration and you're officially pre-registered. So watch your email. Again, I'll send it to the email that you put on the Google form, and you'll be able to check the list that I have and make sure it's correct. And if you are in fact pre-registered, then there's no need for you to arrive at the competition site right at the very beginning of the competition. You're welcome to show up just for the tests that you're taking. I would say, and then you can leave right after, except for the fact that if you're gonna win a trophy or a medal, I would really love it if you stick around so that you can get your materials and I'm not, you know, carrying 100 trophies back to Quail Valley the next week. So if you do not register early, you're gonna have to do on-site registration. I'll tell you now, a lot of schools are moving toward not allowing on-site registration. They're basically saying if you don't register early, then you can't compete at all. So I would highly recommend trying to just get in the habit of doing the pre-registration and getting it done on time. So, but if they do allow on-site registration, you're usually gonna have to show up to the competition site around 7 to 7:30. The fees are gonna increase for the tests. And the reality is if you show up late and the competition site is saying that you can't compete, I'll back that up. So please don't put me in that position because it's hard for me. So for Math League, that's another competition that we do commonly. This is a little bit of an easier registration process just because you can pay directly to the mathleague.org site. And the only thing that we need to do is the day of the competition, if you need help forming a team, we can help you with that. But other than that, you just pay the Math League people and show up. So there is no on-site registration, notice that, but you can register and then pay on-site. But notice the reality is a lot of Math League competitions run late, so it's way better to just pay early. Because we don't want to stay any later than we need to. Okay, AMC is another one that's coming up. The AMC 8 test is open to everyone. We're going to offer it at Quail Valley. We'll do it probably in some classrooms. So again, watch out for an invitation email. I haven't charged for that in the past, but I'm going to go ahead and charge just a minimal fee for it this year, just to cover the cost of the test and kind of to make sure that kids aren't just showing up for it. That's the main thing is we need to be able to be really organized this year and not have, you know, kids show up last minute. After AMC 8, Quail Valley requires a minimum score in order to be able to take the AMC 10 at Quail Valley. So usually it's around 20. Sometimes the test is harder in some years than others, and so maybe we'll lower it to an 18 or something like that. But just because our club group is so big, we have to cut off the number of students who can take it. Now the reality is you might be able to find another school that will allow you to take the AMC 10, even if you didn't make our qualifying score. But just know that our motivation is just the fact that we've got to keep our groups small enough to make it work with our schedules. So after AMC 10, then all of the tests are by invitation only, and that doesn't have anything to do with us. That has to do with the MAA organizers. Okay, after competitions, so that's like a picture of me after one of the competitions. I had so many trophies to take back, I was about to fall over. So again, if you think you might have won a trophy, I would really appreciate it if you'd stick around so you can take it home with you and I'm not having to take it all back to school. Okay, so this I think I've pretty much all talked about. Let me make sure, be a teacher. Yeah, said all that. We will eventually ask for some chaperones for state TMSCA. Definitely donation match would be awesome. Okay, so here's the question time. So if you will visit this site, answergarden.ch and then front slash 745274. Here's how it works. Instead of being bombarded by hundreds and hundreds of comments all at one time, what's going to happen on Answer Garden, I'm going to pull it up for you so you see what it looks like. Let's say and this is true, one of the most common questions I get from parents is how many 6th graders make it into Varsity 1? So I'm going to actually type that question. I'm going to move this for a second. So how many 6th graders in Oh, I may not have enough spaces. I don't. Hold on. So let me put this. 6th graders in varsity in, sorry, I didn't know there was a, let's say B1. Okay. I didn't realize there was a character limit. Okay, I'm gonna submit that question, and then if any of you want me to answer that question, type it exactly like I did, and the more people that type that question, the bigger the font gets. So if you'll keep refreshing the page, then I'll be able to see all the questions that you have, and I'll be able to see the ones that more of you have. So I'm hoping that this is working for you. Actually, you know what I bet? Okay, hold on. I'm assuming that you did not have enough time to get the number. So Answer Garden is up here at the top. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint slide. Okay, and give you guys a second to get there. Key is, if you see a question that someone else wrote and you're like, you really want to hear the answer to that also, then retype it, because it gets bigger, and the bigger the font, the faster I'll get to it, or the more priority I'll give to it. Give me a little bit more time because I know you can see it. Okay, good. Okay, hopefully you have had enough time to log in. I'm going to try to make it where you can see the URL address right there. There you go. And then I'll refresh it, and I'm starting to see some questions that I can answer. Okay, perfect. So, I was right. A lot of you guys want to know about 6th graders in Varsity 1. We don't have any sort of limit on who is in Varsity 1. Now, we do recognize that if there's a really, really strong 6th grader, we want them to be working with Miss Knoll immediately. So, but as far as who gets into Varsity 1, we don't look so much at the grade as we do the placement test score. There's not, a cutoff necessarily. So that's the same for 7th graders and 8th graders as well. Let's see. First competition, I know for sure that there's going to be a TMSEA competition at Clements on October 27th. We're in the process of doing a math league competition also on October 27th. So there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be 2 on that date, and that's probably going to be the first competition of the year. Make sure, I haven't updated, I've found a couple more calendar dates recently, but just go back to the Radar Math website, and this is going to be your source of information. I'll be updating this probably this weekend to include a couple more competitions. Like, for example, this Clements one is moved to October. So just check that for the first competition, but probably end of October. Okay. Do I check the test scores? For the placement test, my plan is to have at least part of the test be something that I scan, so nobody's really going to be checking them. We're going to let a program check them, but usually what I do is I get kind of a group of volunteers who will help me organize and do things like that. Let me know if you have some concerns about just grading, valid grading, because one thing I've considered doing in the past is making sure that if I have volunteer graders, making sure they can't see anyone's name, and I'm happy to do that as well. The AMC is, there's only one AMC a year, and it is going to be, I think it's November 13th. Let's just double check. November 13th is the AMC 8, so you'll be getting an invite for signing up for that probably like mid-September or something. So, but that's when the AMC 8 is. 7 test submit date. Just make sure they're finished by the first club. So what I'd like to do is to have the last week of August have kind of an orientation day as kind of our first club date, and that would be whenever you would turn everything in. But the reality is if you have those finished and you want to go ahead and give them either to me or to Miss Khandwala, we'll take them now. Okay, I think the next one is the specific calculator. If you are interested in taking the TMSCA calculator test, our most successful calculator competitors have always used an HP 35 or an HP 33. So maybe, hopefully you have something to write with. You can write that down, HP 35, HP 33. Both of those calculators, and the reason the kids like them is that they're RPN calculators. They're totally different than any calculator that our kids have used in school. So there's definitely a learning curve for those calculators. But if you can learn how to use them, they're definitely, the format makes them the calculator that has the fewest keystrokes to being able to finish a question. If you're not interested in having to learn a completely new system for a calculator, the next most popular calculator for the TMSCA calculator event specifically is the TI-84 pluses. So very few students prefer the calculator that the students are using in their math classes at school, and I agree, I absolutely agree with them, they are slow. So every once in a while they like, and those calculators are called the the TI Inspires. I just went blank for a second. So TI Inspires are going to be my last choice. Okay, let me refresh this and see if anything else has come up. Oh goodness, okay. Okay, there's no pass or fail the placement test. So it's really just about where you fit best. So even if you do really poorly on the placement test, it doesn't mean that you can't be in the math club. We're just going to put you in a beginner group instead of an advanced group. Okay, TMSCA versus AMC. That's such a long question for me to answer. What I would do if I were you is go to that Raider Math website and look at the tabs that say TMSCA, and the AMC is going to fall under, it's right, I guess I put AMC on it. So look here and look here. And you'll get some really specific information on what each of those competitions look like, and yeah, how to prepare for them and things like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm assuming how many levels is talking about how many levels of the competitive math club. It's going to depend on our interest level, because I don't know how many of you guys out there are going to join the competitive math club. But I'm hoping for 4: beginner TMSCA, advanced TMSCA, beginner math counts AMC, and advanced math counts AMC. Do you need to compete? If we're not going to require you to compete if you're in the competitive math club, but I guess my question would be, because of the format of the class, I feel like it's going to be specifically geared towards students who want to train for competing. It's not necessarily just for students who just like to do math. Now, if you want to be in the for fun class, then that's just people who want to do math and do fun hands-on activities. But no, you don't need to compete. But I guess my question would be, is it the right fit for you if you don't want to? Okay, recap video. Okay, I'm gonna post the video on YouTube so you guys can go back and watch it again if you need to. How hard is the sixth grade test? There's not a different test for different grade levels. Everybody's gonna take the same placement test. So the first math counts competition date, please know this, you guys, there are some practice competition meets, but they're really few and far between. But most of the math counts meets, the students are chosen by Miss Null from the Varsity 1 or that advanced math counts group. It's a really hard competition to get to. Like, for example, we take about 10 students from our entire club group to the regional math counts, and then they have to qualify from there. But we can only take, I believe we can only take 10. There might be like 2 alternates or something, but math counts is one of those competitions that not everybody is able to go to. So just keep that in mind. TMSCA, anybody can do. AMC 8, anybody can do. Math League, anybody can do. So there are plenty of competitions that you can do no matter, what your level is and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you are very awesome. Let's see there. Everything is really, really little. So if you're saying stuff like that, I'm gonna just click off of it, and kiddos, please don't, because I'm trying to see the questions that people really want to hear. Okay, I'm just gonna start at the top because it looks like I've answered all the bigger questions. Oh, I don't think I answered the minimum score for Varsity 1. There isn't necessarily a minimum score. It's sort of like we take the top 20 students. So it depends on that year. Show the link again. The link to, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So if you want to try, oh my goodness. I didn't realize that I copied that into mine. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Individual trophies. You guys just, you will get individual trophies for like TMSCA. That's a common competition where they just give away a ton of trophies. Other than that, there aren't a whole lot of individual trophies, but there are some. Just make sure that you take responsibility for getting them. Okay. When to register for TMSCA, you just need to watch for the emails, and I'm going to tell you a registration deadline. I'm assuming when it's the one that says when is the August 24th test, it's August 23rd, and it's right after school. The test is going to be, the math counts section of the test is always really hard. We don't expect you to get 100 on it. In fact, we sometimes have kids who get 2 or 3 correct, and that's okay. So see. I think a lot of these are, I'm not gonna refresh again just because it looks like kiddos are missing or putting some random stuff on there. The link, if you're asking for the link to the answer garden, it's right here. Okay. The dues for Math Club are, you pay them through RevTrack, which is the same place that you pay like your lunch account. Maybe the question is, what are they used for? Our first priority is to compensate Miss Null. After that, all the money goes into paying for TMSEA and state math counts costs. Let's see. A graphing versus a scientific calculator. For the calculator test, you don't need a graphing calculator, but you can. The competition test, it depends on what competition you're talking about. They go from easy to hard, but definitely look at the Math Club website and look at the resources that I've shown you there. Let's see. Application packet needs to be in it's going to be in your email. There's a link on the sidebar. Let me show it to you. There's a link on the sidebar right here. If for some reason you did not get the application packet in your email, first check your spam folder, and then after that, if you still didn't get it, then click here and I'll send it again. If you were going to take the placement test, if you didn't join us earlier, you've got to click here and sign up to take the placement test so we know how many copies to make. Okay. AMC 10 plus. Just know that after AMC 10, you have to qualify based on the MAA requirements. It doesn't have anything to do with us. If you want to sign up for Math Club, so it looks like a lot of these questions are things I covered in the very beginning of the video, so I'm not going to re-answer those. I'll just tell you to go and watch the video after I, oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go and watch, or I'll upload the video and you can go watch it from the beginning. I do think that the Fun Math Club move to the competitive Math Club? I'm open to that. You're going to have to do the application packet though. So you'll just have to, you know, fulfill the requirements for the competitive club. Registration I've told you about, so go back and watch the video. I think I don't see anything that I haven't answered. How many people in Varsity 1? I would like to leave some room for students to be able to move up and down. So honestly, I'll just shoot straight with you. It depends on how many students there are, but we'll probably kind of distribute students evenly. Really, I know everybody wants to work with Miss Null, but really anything more than 30 students is tough. So, and I do want the ability for kiddos to be able to move up into her class if they prove it. So the only thing I would say about that is just trust us. We're really not trying to play favorites or anything like that. We're going to try to put you where you're going to get the most out of the class. To qualify for the state TMSEA, just stay tuned. There's always qualifying scores. So we'll definitely cap the number at 50 again. But I expect that that probably if you want to go, there's probably going to be room for you. And if you, obviously, if you meet the qualifying scores for the state. So just stay tuned, because in January I'll probably do another meeting. Okay. I think the only thing that I'm seeing that I haven't answered, I'm gonna refresh it one more time. I'm a little scared because I know the kiddos are putting silly things on there, but let's see. Okay. Yeah, I would like the one of the things that I see is the dues need to be paid by the first day of club. That's going to be one of the things we'll ask you for, is to show that you have paid. Now, I'll probably have the receipts, but you might want to print and take or like take a screenshot or something of your payment receipt for me. Okay. I think I have answered everything I see that I haven't already answered. Okay, I know it's not a perfect system. I hope there's not somebody out there wishing me to say to answer a question that I haven't. If that's you, just send me an email. But definitely first, please go and look through the Math Club website. And maybe rewatch the video, just because I'm crazy busy right now and it might take me a little bit of time to get back to you. So again, I'm just going to end with this. I think I hope I've answered at least most of your questions. So I'm just going to end with this. Looking a little disheveled now. So really be patient with me. I've got a full plate already with just my classes. I really like doing Math Club, but I really, I'm not going to do things perfectly, and I'm really asking in advance for your patience as far as how long it takes me to get back to you on emails, or the reality is there are going to be times when we have to cancel club, and we may not be able to give you a couple of days of notice. I promise you we'll do our very best to give you as much notice as possible, but please be patient with us. Our teachers are volunteers, and Ms. Condwell and I have very full plates, so just be patient with us. And definitely, I always ask, please, I know we're all super busy, but if you do have a question, make sure that you have looked on the website to see if I've already answered your question somewhere else. Because that'll just help me a lot, because it's just lots of little things that I have to keep up with, and sometimes it's last minute and it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't ordered this certain test, or there was a time when I forgot to mail a test and I'm on the phone and begging the people, please take this test, and thankfully I haven't had any huge hiccups, but the more that you guys can kind of seek out some answers, the better. Oh, one more thing, I'm glad I thought about this. I've been working on, when I joined Quail Valley, I initially, like everything we had, all of our resources were hard copies, and I'm in the process of trying to digitize everything. If you're interested in helping us do all that digitizing, I would love some help. We've done a ton, and I'm working on getting you guys access to hundreds of practice tests. The issue that I'm having is they are copywritten tests, so I can't just post them on the website. So I'm kind of exploring some different possibilities of doing something that is password protected, or something that I can just share a link with you guys. But know that I'm working on trying to get you guys a huge database of materials for practice. So okay, I hope I covered everything. Let me look at my list one last time. Okay. All right, well, hopefully that answered most, if not all, of your questions. Definitely looking forward to another good year. We've had awesome success in the past. This year's TMSCA state win is going to be a challenge for us. So if you are interested in TMSCA, start practicing, because Fort Settlement's going to be a tough competitor this year. Anyway, you guys have a really, really good weekend, and I will see some of you on Monday. Parents, I look forward to meeting you guys and working more closely with you throughout the year. Alrighty, bye guys.